Montana Territory, 1889. The snow came early that year, swallowing the rolling hills of the Montana Territory in icy silence. From the porch of the crumbling farmhouse, Ruth Langley wrapped her shawl tighter and scanned the empty land. It used to be full of life. Cattle roaming, wheat swaying in the summer breeze, the sound of her father's hammer fixing what the wind tore down. Now the roof sagged like a tired sigh, and their last horse limped with age. "We can't keep doing this," Ruth murmured. Behind her, her younger sister Cora stepped outside, brushing flour from her hands. "I made bread with the last of the yeast. Don't think it'll rise, like everything else." Ruth didn't answer. The silence between them had grown heavier with each unpaid debt and cracked window pane. They were the only black family left in Bitter Creek, a place that had never welcomed them, but had grudgingly tolerated their father's skill with a fence line and rifle. Their neighbors had moved east or south after one too many hard winters. But the Langley sisters stayed. Out of pride, out of memory, out of stubborn love. It was Cora who said it first, one cold night by the stove. "What if we wrote to those newspaper ads? For mail-order husbands?" Ruth nearly choked on her tea. "We are not desperate." Cora just looked at her, dark eyes catching firelight. "Aren't we?" The letters were written in different styles. Ruth's was short and careful, practical. She explained the land, the work, the expectations. Cora's was softer, laced with poetry and hope. They sent them weeks apart, not expecting anything. But in early spring, when the snow finally began to melt, two men arrived on the same train. The first was tall and lean, with the kind of quiet strength that reminded Ruth of their father. His name was Isaiah Bell, a former Buffalo soldier turned blacksmith. He spoke with few words, and when he looked at Ruth, it wasn't with pity, but with recognition. He saw her struggle and did not flinch. The second, Elijah Tate, had the energy of a man running from something. Charming, with a dimpled grin and smooth voice, he claimed to be a preacher's son from Georgia. He spoke to Cora like she was light itself, and though Ruth was suspicious, Cora bloomed like spring wildflowers. Isaiah got to work right away, reinforcing the barn, fixing the corral gate, chopping wood without being asked. Elijah told stories more than he labored, but he had clever hands and could coax life out of broken things. The ranch began to breathe again. Cora laughed more. Ruth slept better. For a time it felt like hope, but spring brought more than blossoms. One afternoon, a white man rode in from the north, dust trailing behind him like smoke. "Y'all the Langley sisters?" he asked, voice rough as gravel. He dismounted and spat in the dirt. "I'm Ruth Langley," Ruth said, stepping forward. "I'm Roy Fletcher. Your father owed my uncle money before he passed. I'm here to collect. The land's worth more to me than some pity ranch." He grinned with tobacco-stained teeth. "You'll be off it in a week." Ruth's heart dropped. That debt was paid. Not in writing. Isaiah appeared beside her, calm but firm. "You best get back on your horse, mister." Fletcher narrowed his eyes. "You got no claim here, and you—" He looked at Isaiah and Elijah with barely concealed contempt. "Better not be thinking this place belongs to you now." He left, but Ruth knew he'd return. That night, Elijah pulled Cora aside. "We could leave," he whispered. "Go to Oregon or California. Start over. You don't have to stay and fight this. He'll come back with men. Guns, maybe." Cora shook her head. "This is my home. You knew that when you came." "But do you know who I am?" he asked, voice suddenly brittle. "I ain't no preacher's son. I ran from a chain gang. They'll hang me if they find me." Cora's eyes widened. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I wanted to believe I could change," he said, eyes pleading. "With you." She stepped back. "Then prove it. Stay. Help us." He looked away. 2 nights later, the barn caught fire. Ruth woke coughing, smoke curling through the walls. Isaiah had already grabbed a pail, shouting for water. Cora screamed as sparks danced in the sky. Elijah was gone. The fire took the barn and nearly the side of the house. The horse ran off. They buried their faces in their hands as the sun rose over ashes. Ruth sat on the porch, soot-streaked, numb. "I knew he wasn't right," she whispered. Isaiah crouched beside her. "He wasn't a coward. I saw tracks leading west. You think he went for help? I think he went for something." 3 days later, Fletcher returned with 2 riders, and a signed deed he claimed proved the land was his. "You've got till sunset," he said, smirking. Isaiah stood alone in front of the house. Ruth and Cora watched from the window, hearts hammering. Fletcher raised his rifle. Then a shot rang out, from the hill. One of Fletcher's men dropped, clutching his leg. From behind a rock outcrop, Elijah appeared, holding a rifle. Behind him, 2 native men on horseback joined him, friends, it seemed, from when Elijah fled west and found help among the Salish. "This land ain't yours," Elijah shouted, "and it ain't for taking." Fletcher froze. Outnumbered and outgunned, he turned and left, cursing as he went. Later, Elijah walked toward Cora, eyes searching. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't run away. I went to find someone who could scare him off. Men who hate land thieves more than I do." Ruth stepped forward, watching his face. "You lied about who you were." "I did," Elijah admitted. "But I didn't lie about wanting to stay." Cora took his hand. Isaiah came to Ruth's side, silent as always. They stood together in the last light, the land around them scorched but still theirs. Summer came slowly, bringing green shoots through blackened earth. The Langley Ranch lived again, rebuilt with hands that had chosen to stay. And this time, they didn't face it alone.